This is my 2022, August of 2022 review of the Dreams Oynx and Punta Cana. I'm just going to be clear that I've never made a video like this before, which actually should say something about what I'm about to get into and the issues we had there. And spoiler alert, I'm not going to be recommending this resort. There were some really great aspects to it. We definitely had more issues than what would be typically expected on an excursion of this nature. Again, I'm not a professional videography. I apologize. The camera's going to be a bit shaky at times, but these are just random clips that you're going to be seeing as I kind of go through, the good, the bad, and the ugly of staying at Dreams. And again, I apologize for the photographer work isn't exactly professional. Some of the good aspects, and like I said, I'm not going to be recommending this resort to anyone. I would not go back. I would not stay again, and I'll get into those issues. But there were some reasons why I could see people enjoying the facilities, as you can kind of see from what's being shown on the screen. The resort itself is extremely beautiful. Well laid out. It did get a bit confusing walking through it, especially for the first few times. We got lost a few times because it is quite massive and there's a lot to kind of see and do, which would definitely be one of the benefits. And shortly you're going to see a video of like the water park and some of the other aspects of things that they have. The Wi-Fi connection, I did do a little bit of work while I was there. Their Wi-Fi was, spot on throughout the facility, throughout the resort. So if you're going there expecting, to need to do some business while you're staying there, the Wi-Fi connection is solid. It's be as good as your computer. Again, I'm not a techie, but I did video calls, I did voice calls while I was there. Never had any issues at all with that. As I mentioned, the layout is beautiful, and there's a lot of work that goes into the upkeep and the gardening of the facility. And even to that nature, the rooms were really nice. The plenty of space for me and my wife to, in the evenings we didn't feel like we were crawling all over each other like some of the other resorts we've stayed in the past. They definitely give you a little bit of a living space with a couch and an area to kind of sit and relax. The balcony is generous. There's a jacuzzi on it and in it, so that's always, a plus. We didn't actually use the jacuzzi while we were there, but I did see others in their jacuzzis because it seems like almost every room does have a jacuzzi, and that would definitely be something that, I would list as a benefit. 3 swim-up bars, and this is something that I'm surprised they don't advertise more. They have a lot of area, 3 different swim-up bars, one being inside the actual water park that they have, one being in the preferred VIP lounge area, which is adults only, and it's a beautiful area if you aren't traveling with kids, and especially the bartenders there were awesome and knowledgeable, and the liquor was pretty good. It wasn't super high quality. I think it topped out around Johnny Walker Black, to put it in whiskey terms, which again is a solid quality whiskey, but you're not going to get any $300 a bottle type, alcohol at the swim-up bar, any of the throughout the facility, obviously, because it isn't all inclusive, and I completely understand that. But that being said, beyond that, there's not much I could say that is going to be positive about this experience. Right from the gate, when we got to the resort, and I don't blame Oynx for this at all, but, our luggage was lost, or not necessarily lost, our luggage was didn't make the connection. But when we checked in, instead of, again, the area is quite large. It's a big complex. No one walked us to our room. They kind of told us, go down this hallway, make a left, and you're going to find your room, which, again, you can kind of see right now coming on the screen. And, plenty of areas. You can see towels and, a little safe there that worked nice. I accidentally punched in the wrong code the one day. They were pretty responsive getting that fixed up. As you can see here, the bathrooms are, fair size. I'm not a big person. I'm not small either, and I was fully comfortable in the shower and using the facilities in the room. Two shower heads. They had the one you can pull off, and then the kind of the rainfall type shower was quite nice. Like I said, the room itself was, beautiful. The walls were quite thin, though. When we got neighbors about 2 or 3 days in, we could hear their conversations quite clearly, which was a bit disappointing. And the door across the hall from us at one point did start chiming and beeping. I'm not sure if it was low on batteries or there was a technical issue with it, but it chirped all night and we could hear every chirp. Kind of kept me up that night, and it was quite the ordeal trying to get that fixed. I saw a maid outside our room. I flagged her down. She didn't speak much English, but she could hear the door chirping and she didn't really do anything. So I went to the concierge, told them about it, and they said they would fix it. Obviously have someone come out and take a look. Went to eat breakfast, came back, and it was still chirping. Need to go back to the concierge, which at that point was like my third or fourth time. So thin walls, but good Wi-Fi. The beach, there was a lot of seaweed, and I know that this is seasonal for this area of Punta Cana or Dominican Republic, but again, my camera isn't the greatest, so it's not doing it justice here, but there was a significant amount of seaweed on the beach and in the ocean. And I know this is partially out of their control, but it definitely are fully out of their control. I mean, they did have people trying to clean the beach to a certain extent. They weren't doing a very good job of it. But if you're going there for the beach, which if you're like us and you're going to the Caribbean, you're going there for the beach, you would expect, a nicer, like the water was Myrtle Beach-esque. It wasn't very beautiful or nice. It was okay. We did do some scuba diving, and you don't get that Caribbean feel, which obviously is why we went down there. And I'll take ownership of that. I should have done some research. As you can see now, I'm taking you through kind of the water park. There are rooms like right in the water park area, which would be great if you're staying with kids. The water park was really nice, but the problem with the water park is if you have small children, like my friend who came with us, his 3-year-old son couldn't use the water slides. So you're going there, you're pitching this to be the kid-friendly area, and there's not a single water slide in this area that is suitable for kids. Well, there is one that would be suitable, but they're not allowed on it. So there were about 3 or 4 slides. They were adequate. I mean, it was solid. I mean, for being in a resort, it was kind of nice. I will give my hats off to the design and layout of this area as well. But certainly, if you have small children, don't expect to use a lot of these facilities. Going back to my initial point, and again, I know I'm a little bit sporadic here, but like no one showed us to our room, so we were quite lost when we walked through. We did approach multiple staff while we were there, trying to ask random questions as we were getting associated with it, and in multiple instances, people just kind of walked away from us. We did book with, a friend of ours, and we were hoping to stay close to them. We were in different buildings. They kind of screwed up our reservation. I would never book through AMR. AMR was terrible to work with. When we had issues and we tried to contact them, it was kind of like, if this is your problem. They overcharged my credit card, before we even got on the trip, and by like $1,800 because they double charged us for our airfare, and then basically said you got to wait 30 days, and it took 3 phone calls of numerous hours to kind of get that refund expedited. But yeah, for about a week or two, I was just, okay, here's an extra $2,000 charge on your credit card, and no apologies, no nothing. It was just kind of like, you deal with it. We're not sorry, but we're on it, and we notice that we made this mistake, but it's kind of your problem, and you'll get your money back, when you get it back. Our biggest concern is don't go here for the food. The food throughout the resort is not good. And I don't mean like it's okay, it's not good. The burger station at the front, put it this way, as far as timing and service, I got there because I was really hoping to try this burger place out because, well, when we went there, it was always like a 45-minute wait. I showed up at the burger place right at 3 o'clock as they're supposed to open, walk through the door, ask for a burger, one for me, one for my wife, and it was a 30-minute wait. I actually timed it because at this point I was so used to the poor service throughout the resort that 33 minutes in, we got a cheeseburger. And I was the first one through the door. They didn't have any orders prior to mine. It took them 33 minutes to make 2 cheeseburgers. And the people that were behind me, it's not like they got fed first. It just takes them forever at that burger place. And between about 3:30 and 6 p.m., that burger place, along with the beach area where they have the little, I forget what they call it, the beach grill or whatever, it's the only place you can eat because we're taking you into the canteen here, and I will call it a canteen. That's pretty much the best way to describe it. There was a lot of selection, but not anything worth eating. The pastries were adequate at best, but like a lot of the food, it just seemed old, of low quality. It was really filler. We were extremely disappointed with just about all of our food options. And again, the people that were serving there, the omelet station, you got to get there early because they have one person cooking eggs and omelets for the entire, however many rooms they have at this place. And it's just like one guy flipping an egg over and over again. And that's pretty much the speed you get fed breakfast. And like I said, the quality just wasn't there. My wife has some stomach issues. She had trouble eating the whole time we were there. I was fasting for certain parts of our trip because I just didn't feel like eating any of the food because it was that bad. In the evening, there are like 7 or 8 restaurants. We did try each of them because we were there for 10 days. The Mediterranean was actually quite nice. That was the one food experience we had. French was decent, but not good. And then pretty much all of the other restaurants were extremely disappointing, to say the least. It was funny, like the one night we tried to go back to our friend's room and just hang out in their back balcony. So we went into the Italian place. Can we get some pizzas? And they're like, no, you can't take those out. Okay, that's kind of weird, but okay, whatever. They're trying to feed the people in there. But they say, oh, call room service. So we called room service, and room service says, oh, yeah, we don't have pizza today. Which, again, isn't the end of the world. Then we ordered, some chicken fingers and some other stuff. And, again, it was delivered okay, but, like, it just wasn't very good. Like I said, the common theme here is the food is not something that, you're going to go there for. Amazingly enough, you're in the Caribbean, and there's, like, no seafood options at any of the restaurants. It was almost rare to see even like salmon or shrimp or crab or anything like that on the menu. Me and my wife are both big seafood people. Usually when we're in, an area like this, we've only been in the Caribbean a couple times, but like, when we're in Southeast Asia or places like that, usually we're looking forward to eating some seafood, and well, they just didn't have any in most of the places that we went to. And when we were there, I did speak with the manager and, kind of vented some of my frustrations. He did upgrade us to access to some of the lounges in the preferred. The food wasn't much better there. It was cooked a little bit more fresh, but it was still of low quality. Condiments were surprisingly hard to get a hold of. Any meal we got, like we get a cheeseburger at the beach, and it was hard to, like a couple times they didn't have ketchup. You'd think the most basic of condiments was like difficult to track down and actually, to get a hold of. And again, this was in the preferred room where, we're supposed to be getting this VIP treatment, which never really, materialized. The resort itself is very family friendly. So if you are going with kids, that's good. There were a few times throughout the week that we were there that, people were doing a little more partying and stuff, but for the most part, it was extremely, extremely kid friendly. They do have like a group of people that come out and, have activities for the kids. There's a kids club, and they do try to entertain the guests, and that group did a pretty good job. But if you get into the evenings, if you're going there like to party, this is not the place for you. By 11 o'clock, all but two places are closed. And then from 11 to 12, you've got the sports bar and I think one other lounge that is available, open at 12. On numerous nights, me and my friend were, again, up. It's 11 o'clock. We're on vacation and told we need to leave. And then it's like, even, okay, if we want to get some beers, if we don't have any left in our fridge, you're kind of SOL, go to bed, and, that's again your problem. And like I said, that I'm in my 40s, so I'm not trying to drink to excess too crazily, but it would have been nice to have a late night spot to at least go and just relax and have a beer and hang out. But again, that's not something that's available to you in this resort. Other things that kind of just were annoying. We had our thermostat didn't change. Like, we actually had to have one of their technicians come to our room to change the temperature. And again, he didn't speak much English, and obviously I don't hold that against him. I'm in his country, but the front desk tried to help me sort this problem, but it was full blast aircon, and some people might enjoy that. We don't like that. We don't like to have temperatures that cold, and it was just like that perpetually. Until like the third or fourth day, we finally got the guy out to our room. He went in, he adjusted it, and he kind of told me in broken English, and the very limited Spanish that I speak, that basically he can set it to whatever temperature we want, but once he sets it, that's kind of what the temperature we're going to have to live with, because the thermostat wasn't working. The mini bar, very limited. They have some beers, some juices, some soft drinks. A couple times it wasn't restocked. Again, it wasn't the end of the world for us, but again, you at a place like this, you expect a decent amount of service, and in the evenings, since everything's shut down, it would have been nice to have a few extra beers floating around. But like I said, there's really no options. As the night moves on, I guess you could go over to Breathless, but I think everything over there, Breathless is like a separate resort right next door. It's adults only. The food there was actually a little bit better. Supposedly it's all the same management. We did find the food over there a bit better. It still wasn't anything to write home about, but we did go over there a few times for meals, just because, again, the buffet was, of a better quality. It seemed, or at least it felt. But again, over there, I'm not sure if everything closes down there at midnight as well. Like I said, we weren't really seeking it out, but there were a few times we did have to wrap up a little bit earlier than we otherwise would have. And then last but not least, one of the things that was kind of irritating is when you go in there, they're not allowed to legally say timeshares, but at the front they're enticing people to go to basically a timeshare sales. So we thought, okay, great. I know me and my friend are going to go scuba diving. We'll let the wives, we'll let them go and use the spa one day, and they can go enjoy that. And they offered us this $200 gift voucher if we sit through a sales presentation on these supposed non-timeshares that they're trying to sell down there. And the lady there was really nice, but we signed up. They told us come at 9:15, come hungry, be ready. This is going to be a sales pitch. They were very upfront about that, which was cool. I'm a salesperson, so I actually was looking forward to kind of seeing how they go about this. We show up at 9:15. There's no van waiting for us like they said there would be. There's some confusion. Next thing I know, it's close to 10 o'clock before we even get in the van. to go to the other resort, which is about 20 minutes away. By the time we get to the resort, you'd think again they know that they have us coming in. They're going to be trying to sell us on something. At least in my professional life, I am properly prepared, but it seemed like no one knew what was going on. We kind of stood around. We filled out a ton of forms. And that's another thing, too. When you check in, there are a ton of forms you're going to need to sign to get into your room, which I thought was odd. I've never had been presented with a long list of liability clauses and everything else when I'm checking into a hotel before. But at Dreams Oynx, be prepared. You're going to, sign off a bunch of things that you'll never read. Anyway, we get to this new resort. We give them our IDs and they make us verify a bunch of information. At this point, it's like 10:30ish. It's got to be. And the kids are starting to get a bit restless because all of us needed to go, right? We both couples need to be part of the sales pitch in order to get those coupons, that $200 credit so we could use the spa, with that. Yes, and we are being cheap here. I get it. But we get there and it takes them forever to process us. Finally, they give us, or this lady introduces herself and she's going to be the person taking us, and pitching us basically. She leads us through the resort. And again, this is a different resort, and it was beautiful, it was nice, it was very quiet, and she was explaining the resort a little bit, very polite, professional. She was actually quite nice. We get to the restaurant where we're supposed to be eating breakfast, and we're just waiting. There's nobody in the establishment. There was one other table that was finishing up, but there was they weren't ready for us. And again, this is something we signed up the day before. It took about 15, 20 minutes for them to even prepare a table. Somehow sliding two tables together took them 15, 20 minutes. We sit down. The lady can see that obviously we're not happy, and she was nice. She kind of explained to us a little bit and was talking with us. We put in our orders. Long story short, it took forever, and the kids started getting very antsy. They're pretty good in most situations, and they handled this pretty well too. But they told us to show up at 9:15 hungry, and we didn't get fed. The food didn't actually get to our table till 11:45. That's 2.5 hours later than when we were supposed to show up hungry. It was just terrible. So we finished the sales pitch. The lady didn't go very hard on us. She understood our plight and actually seemed not happy that they put us in with her because there was no money to be made out of us. Then they got us back to the resort. But she did say, hey, call AMR, and AMR should be able to assist you, right? They should be able to maybe transfer you over to the Dominico where the beach will be nicer. And maybe you'll have a better stay and different experience. So we get back to the room, we call up the number she says. AMR basically gives us a runaround. You got to send an email to this place, then you got to go to the front desk and you got to get them to say that you're allowed to leave. So even though all these resorts, they're all Dreams, right? We're trying to go from Dreams Oynx over to Dreams Dominico or whatever it is, and they're all owned by AMR. They have different owners. And because of the different ownership, they can't just move us. And there are rooms available. It's a comparable price, and they would have given us an option to pay an extra $20 or $50 a night, or whatever the difference would be. We would have happily paid it. But they made no effort to correct this. So we ended up basically being stuck. I ended up having a few conversations with the manager, explaining my problems. Nothing really changed. Nothing at all. He just kind of sat there, listened to me, and you could see he just wanted to get back about his day and didn't really put much effort into making us any more comfortable, even though he kept on repeating that his job was to make people comfortable. So there's a lot of things. I'm sure different people have different experiences at the Oynx. Again, the good would be, it is a beautiful resort. there are some benefits to staying there. There's a lot of facilities, a lot to do. If you've got kids, there's plenty of entertainment. So between the kids club and the events that they have throughout the day, like a sandcastle building contest and some of the other stuff, they did a great job with that. And it's great if you have kids. But again, don't go in, I think, July, August, or September, because there's going to be a ton of seaweed on the beach, and it's going to be basically not swimmable. And if you're going there for the food, if you're going there to make use of, that, like more of an adult experience, I would definitely choose a different hotel or resort. I will never personally stay at anything AMR ever again, with just the issues we had prior to arriving, with them overcharging my credit card, and basically no apologies for that, to the issues we had once we landed, to the fact that they were absolutely of zero assistance. And I contacted at least a half dozen people. Zero assistance in trying to remedy any of our situation or give us a more positive experience. It was kind of like, we've got your money, tough crap, you're on your own, and that's it. So I personally would never stay here again. I would never stay with anything AMR. But if you have a different experience, leave it in the comments below. Again, I apologize that this might have been a little bit of rambling. I am not a professional at this. It says a lot that I'm actually making this video. I'm that disappointed with my trip that I wanted to share our experience with it, because one of my reviews on TripAdvisor got taken down. Yay, TripAdvisor. Good to know that you're censoring comments. So I wanted to kind of let people know of the experience and kind of what we went through, and if it has an effect. But again, if you've had a different experience, leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.